May 31st, 2022, 9 o'clock hearing. Good shot support. Nine o'clock.
Recording in progress.
All right. Good morning. This is Judge Well. Now, before we get going here, I want to make sure all we have here Who do I have in the phone number ending in 762?
That is Investigator Supervisor Mosby.
Okay. And Mr. Flaherty, who are you representing today?
Miss Frank, Your Honor.
Okay, and can you get a notice of appearance sent into the office?
I think I've been on record for many years.
Okay.
I get service of documents.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just for some reason I didn't have you listed on this one.
Yeah.
All right. And it looks like we have everyone here, so we'll go ahead and get started. Again, my name is Tricia Wellnell. I'm an administrative law judge for the state of Montana, Department of Public Health and Human Services, Office of Administrative Hearings. This is an administrative hearing in a contested case resulting from an administrative modification notice and order that was issued by the Child Support Services Division in case number 244298. I've been assigned to preside over this hearing from my office in Helena, Montana. Today is May 31st, 2022, and it's just after 9:00 a.m., which is the time set for this hearing. Present by teleconference, I have Mickey Mosby, Child Support Investigator Supervisor. I have Jason Mafk, the obligor in this case, and I have Stephanie Frank, the obligee in this case, along with her counsel, Daniel Flaherty. Today's hearing is being recorded, so please speak loudly, clearly, and directly into your phones. And please do your best not to speak when someone else is speaking, and I'll do my best to make sure everyone gets a turn to say what they would like to say. The purpose of today's hearing is to allow me to gather information so that I can determine an appropriate child support obligation, and any testimony given during this hearing must be done so under oath and is subject to penalties for perjury and false swearing, so I'll need to administer an oath at this time, asking if each of you solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Mickey Mosby, do you so swear or affirm?
Yes, Judge, I do. And I do need to let you know that our staff attorney, April Armstrong, will be joining us shortly.
Okay. And is she presenting today, or are you, Ms. Mosby?
I am.
Okay. And Jason Mafk, do you so swear or affirm?
Yes.
Mr. Mafk, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Do you
Yes.
solemnly swear or affirm that? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
And Stephanie Frank, do you so swear or affirm?
I do.
Okay. Thank you. And Mr. Mafk, I'll let you know we can barely hear you.
Okay.
Before I take any testimony, the administrative rules of Montana require me to hold a brief pre-hearing conference to determine what facts and exhibit to all agree on and what issues are left to resolve. I received 9 exhibits from the Child Support Services Division, as well as Stephanie Frank's hearing request, which is automatically marked as hearing exhibit 1. Oops, excuse me, it's not Stephanie Frank's hearing request. I'm sorry about that. It's Jason Mafk's.
Thank you.
Mr. Mafk, did you receive a copy of the state's exhibits?
I believe so.
Okay. Have you had a chance to review those?
Had a chance, I suppose. I haven't.
Okay. Do you have any objections to me admitting those into the record today?
Any false information in them, I guess, but no.
Okay. And Mr. Flaherty, did you receive a copy of the exhibits?
I did, Your Honor.
Okay. And do you have any objection to me admitting those into the administrative record?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. State's exhibits 1 through 9, as well as hearing exhibit 1, have been admitted into the record. And based on my review of the file, I believe that the CSED received an authorization to act that was signed by Stephanie Frank on August 16, 2016. On September 14, 2016, the CSED issued a notice and order concerning support, and a hearing was held on March 24, 2017. And an ALJ from this office issued a proposed order for financial and medical support, ordering Mr. Mafk to pay support in the amount of $349 per child per month effective August 2016, with a final order being issued on May 4th, 2017. On March 26, 2019, the Montana 8th Judicial District Court Cascade County issued a decree of dissolution and final parenting plan, which did not change the support obligation. And on September 10th, 2021, Mr. Masick filed a request for review. On March 14th, 2022, the CSSD issued an administrative modification order with a support obligation in the amount of $443 per child per month, effective April of 2022, in which Mr. Masick filed a request for hearing. Mr. Masick, do you agree that that's an accurate statement of the background of this matter?
Except for my request for modification years ago, then it was denied by Frank in the office.
Okay, that's a settled matter. So
Okay, then I
we're just going
object.
off the order that
I
is in
also
place.
I also object to all the information and the numbers that were used to calculate my income.
Okay, we haven't gotten to that part yet. I'm just talking about the background of the matter.
That is background of the matter.
Okay. And Mr. Flaherty, do you agree that that's an accurate statement of the background of this matter?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Masick, based on your hearing request, I understand you are disputing the calculation. Was there specific parts of the calculation that you're referring to? I'm assuming income.
You're absolutely correct.
Okay. Were there any other parts of that calculation that you had a dispute with?
The final calculation.
Okay. And Mr. Flaherty, were there issues that you would like to raise in today's hearing?
No, Your Honor. I'll just cross-examine Mr. Masick when the time comes.
Okay. And Mr. Masick, excuse me. Can you go ahead and talk to me a little bit about your dispute with the income?
It's incorrect.
Okay. Can you tell me why you think it's incorrect?
Because your calculations are correct.
I can barely hear you, sir.
Because your calculations are incorrect.
Okay, what are you saying the income itself that
Yes,
they have for you?
absolutely.
And it appears, looking at this here,
That it's all overinflated and they use numbers for themselves out of thin air. I've never made that amount of money, even in 2017. This has been an abuse
okay,
case.
it looks like there's an imputed income for you.
Exactly, and that's not correct. That's a number where they're pulling it out of thin air that happened in 2016 and it continues to this day.
Okay. So are you working at all, Mr. Masick?
I'm a disabled vet. I'm a
Okay, do
stay-at-home,
you receive full disability or a percentage?
a percentage. I'm a stay-at-home father. I've had that right taken away from me due to the abuses of this court and the courts in Great Falls, 8th Judicial.
Okay, so do you have children outside of this calculation?
I do not.
Okay, so it's my understanding with the parenting plan set forth from the district court, you don't have the children full time.
Correct.
That you have supervised visitation, is that correct?
Correct. Supervised visitations, yes.
Okay. But you're claiming to be a full-time stay-at-home father?
Yeah, I was, until it was taken from me due to the fact of the abuse of the courts and this court, your court, and the 8th Judicial Court. Otherwise,
And
it would
what percentage is your disability, Mr. Masick?
40%, and my parental should be 50-50. If I
We're
have,
not here to discuss the
I
parenting
understand.
plan. That is a district court action.
Okay.
So that's not within the scope of this hearing. Okay, so if you want to dispute the parenting plan, you'd have to take that up with the district
I
court.
understand that. It was just brought up by
Um,
you that I don't have any time with them, so I'm bringing in. That's my side of it.
Right. Because the district court order that's currently out there for custody.
Right. You brought it up, so I answered it.
Okay. And okay.
And Your Honor, Dan Flaherty here. Just as a matter to make things a little bit easier, having dealt with Mr. Masick for a number of years now, I would like to just ask maybe 10 questions to get us to the end of this hearing. That might be helpful.
You can go ahead, Mr. Flaherty.
Okay, sorry, cut out there for a minute.
Oh.
So, Mr. Masick, you understand you're under oath, correct?
I'm not up on the stand. I'm not here to answer questions.
Mr. Masick, yes. Mr. Flaherty does have the right to ask you questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so Mr. Masick, currently you do not earn any income. You don't work for a paycheck, correct?
Correct.
And in the last year, have you applied for any positions?
I'm a disabled vet, stay-at-home father.
Just try and go yes or no. Have you applied for any positions in the last year?
For what purpose?
For gaining income and supporting your family?
I don't need to gain income. I'm a disabled vet, and the income I am provided off of that secures me enough monthly monetary income to take and provide for myself and my children if I have them. But we're not here for that.
Your current arrears is over $50,000 in child support. Is that correct?
That is correct, due to the fact that this office was
Mr.
over
Masick,
6
I'm not gonna do
months.
this all day. We gotta do yes or no stuff, okay? You're not supporting your kids.
I am.
$160
I am.
a month, correct?
I am. That was the original calculation. I lost over 50% of my income at that point. It should have been recalculated. The state denied for the last 4 years to recalculate.
We can't do this. You get a chance to talk. I get to answer.
That's my answer. That's my answer.
Yes or no.
That's my answer.
Okay, 1 second here. We'll keep going.
Yep.
Your time with the kids, you forfeited because you haven't enrolled in your chemical dependency evaluation or parenting.
Incorrect. Incorrect.
So
And that has nothing to do with calculation. Are we here for the calculation? That has nothing to do with the calculation.
I just
That has nothing. I object.
On YouTube.
I object. I object.
All right. Do you have plans to put this on YouTube, Mr. Frank? I just want.
I object to that question.
All right.
Plead
Well,
the
just for
fifth.
the YouTube audience, that Mr. Masick, he is choosing not to parent his child because of his own issues.
And these,
Moving on.
go ahead, YouTube channel. I guess if we're out, how mature is that?
Own a rental.
Mr. Masick, you have to allow Mr. Flaherty to speak.
No, that is not.
Mr.
That's not a question. Go ahead with your question. That's just speaking to an audience.
Do you own a rental?
What kind of rental?
Do you own a rental for income that you let someone stay at your property, real property, house, 4 walls, roof, and let them pay you for that experience?
I do.
How much is the mortgage on that property?
I'm not going to say out loud the numbers because I'm not sure.
You don't know how much the monthly mortgage payment is?
I do not.
And you understand that that you testified that you're a property manager in previous hearings. Is that accurate?
Nope, that's a lie.
Okay. What do you call yourself as a job title when you're managing that property?
I don't manage the property. I've explained this to you. This is in court documents since day one, back in 2016, 2017. Same thing. I own the properties. I do not manage them.
Okay. Who do you have manage them for you?
I don't have anybody manage them. They manage them themselves. This
Okay,
is,
so,
yet again.
well, properties aren't a sentient being.
Okay.
So, who collects the rent for you? Is it you or somebody else?
I collect it.
You collect the rent?
Yeah.
And how much is that rent that's paid monthly?
I have no idea. I just answered that question.
You don't know how much your renter pays you in rent monthly?
No.
And you don't know how much you pay the bank
That's
in a
right.
mortgage. That is remarkable, Mr. Masick, that is a business that you're currently running.
Thank you.
How
Thank
many
you for your
vehicles
opinion on
are
that.
there titled in your name?
I have no idea.
Is it more than 10?
I have no idea.
How do we ascertain that? Is there something that you can do to
Nope.
show us how that we can count?
Is there something you can do to show me? Because you guys are the one asking about it. You guys have the one. I don't know anything about anything. You're the one with all the legal
I
tricks.
just want to know. All right. So as long as you don't know anything about anything, you have a basis for an objection that your imputed income is too high, correct?
Correct.
But you do not know. You have not tried to seek work in over a year.
For what?
And you do not know how much money.
Why am I being forced to work? Forced to work to do what? I don't have to play the game. Nobody has to play the game.
Your children need to eat. Mr.
They do, and
That's important.
I do support them. You guys are just upset that the calculation is way blown out of proportion and it's not up to your standard. The original calculation I'm paying. The original calculation I am paying. The original calculation I am paying is the original calculation that was calculated. Thank you. Until you guys objected and had to, and then you took a property and you kept my kids from me.
Okay, Mr. Mafk, you are stating that you are supporting the children. How much are you spending a month on the children right now?
$160 a month.
Okay, and you're paying that right now in child support?
Yes. And that is above the calculation at this point from the original. I know we're not here to hash that, but it still plays a part in it because that's the original calculation. And that's why that judge in the last case allowed the 160, and then after 6 months, some reason I'm arrested. And then I'm doing 80 days in jail. They're trying to keep...
Investigator Mosby, did you have anything that for the department?
April Armstrong is going to address the 160.
Okay.
Your Honor, you can see the exhibits that we have here. Before the order, which is being enforced, was entered, the Child Support Services Division issued a notice and order concerning support. And if you look at Judge Evans' decision, he's indicating that there was a notice and order concerning support that was issued. That's a notice. It's the same as a petition. It was never issued as an order. It was never found by a judge to be what Mr. Mafk should be paying. It was never an order at all. It was an allegation. The order that was entered after testimony presented by both parties, and so his statement that there was ever an order for 160 is just inaccurate. It never was. The initial petition went out making that allegation, but the hearings were requested, and after information was provided and testimony was taken, the judge determined that the appropriate level of support was the amount that is being enforced. I also request, Your Honor, that you take a look at the district court order that we provided, which is State's Exhibit 3, and that actually has findings of fact regarding Mr. Mafk's attempts to set aside, to revisit, to revise that, and he was rebuffed by the district court as well. So his arguments that he ever owed $160 a month is just inaccurate. The only orders that we have are the ones we're enforcing.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Armstrong.
Do I get to rebuttal or whatever on that?
Yes, what would you like to say, Mr. Mafk?
Well, she just admitted that that was the 160, and then we were supposed to...
No, she said it was never an order.
It wasn't an order. It wasn't ordered, but it was stated that 160 will work for 6 months, and then it will be reviewed. and it was never reviewed. So yeah, absolutely, all that is correct. It was never ordered because it was never reviewed again.
No,
Ever-
Mr. Masick, what happened is the initial notice and order went out. It was never in effect. There was a hearing that took place, and that final order is the one that went into effect. The $160 was never in effect. It is.
I understand it wasn't in effect, but it was the original calculation until the abuse and the imputed amount, which has never ever been any kind of income of mine, ever. So you guys pull that out of thin air as a stay-at-home father, yet I had to pay for a stay-at-home mother from a previous relationship. So I know how the calculations work. If you're a female and you're a stay-at-home mother, it's okay to have a part-time gig. But if you're a stay-at-home father, you have a part-time gig, and you're a disabled vet, it's still not enough. So with all that, the calculation was $160 until the imputed amount. The fraudulently imputed amount. This is all fraud, waste, and abuse. This is what this is about. And my children are the ones paying for it.
Mr. Masick,
There's a disconnect because you guys don't see it.
dare you, look, you're already on probation.
That's fine. Good, yep. And let it be known I'm on probation because of this abuse and you. Perfect. Computer disconnected.
Period. If they're not working full-time, then an imputed income is placed.
I
The
missed
only
all.
time you
I'm sorry,
want
my
an imputed income.
my computer.
You have to meet certain requirements.
My internet just
to
went down.
become that. Okay, and claiming to be a stay-at-home father when you don't have the children does not meet that requirement.
I did have the children until the whole 2017 issue. It was
We're
taken
talking
from
right
me.
now,
Of
current
course.
in time, you
Yep.
do not.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, so therefore.
I missed. I just tried to explain. I just tried to explain. My internet went down, so I missed everything that just went on. From Danielle drinking his soda to just now, I missed whatever you had said.
Okay.
Some about I came in on imputed.
Okay. There's a presumption in the state of Montana that parents are capable of working full-time at 40 hours a week. If they're not working, then they're imputed in income because it is presumed that they are capable of working, unless you meet certain criteria.
And what are those criteria?
Well, being a stay-at-home father to children that you don't have does not meet that criteria.
Well, what is the criteria?
Reasonable and unreimbursed cost of child care for dependents.
Your Honor, this is so,
Okay, go ahead.
Your Honor, this is so Armstrong. There's a whole list in the administrative rules, but none of those apply here. Part-time income would be imputed if somebody was going to school full-time and the age of the children were at such that if they graduated, the parent graduated with a higher income, it would impact the child. A parent that is fully disabled and incapable of working, a parent who is incarcerated and is expected to be incarcerated, a parent who lives in an area that has 0 jobs and there has no options for commute. Those are some samples, but none of those apply here. Mr. Masick meets no criteria for avoiding imputation of income.
I object.
He's not taking care of a disabled spouse. He's not taking care of a disabled child.
I'm
He's
taking
not,
care of my disabilities.
of work.
Perfect.
So you're on the criteria for not imputing income are available at this point.
So the income that I have provided is not good enough for you, is what you're saying, as a disabled vet with an income and a stay-at-home father. That's what you're saying is not high enough for you. is not high enough for your likings of my children that you're taking from me, right?
Hey, Mr. Masick, you testified earlier that your disability was at 40%.
Correct.
So therefore, okay. So therefore, it does not override the presumption that you're capable of earning wages.
At 40%. But you guys tax me at 100% or hit me at 100% and a stay-at-home father with an income. I have an income.
Real quick, Mr. Masick, you work in the oil fields with that same disability rating, is that correct? Post-discharge, you work in the oil fields at 100%?
I plead the fifth.
All right, that's classic.
Yep.
Love it, Mr. Masick. I wish you would
So is your abuse.
support your children. You're way far.
I am. Thank you, though. Appreciate it. Thank you, lawyer. Thank you, lawyer. Thank you, lawyer.
Okay, Mr. Masick, did you have any other dispute with the calculation?
Yep, all of it.
Specifically, aside from the income, what are you disputing?
The income in the calculation, the incorrect imputed calculation. You have my income.
And Mr. Flaherty, did you have anything further?
No, Your Honor. Just the challenge of Mr. Masick is clear to all, I think, since 2019.
Yep, thank you. I love my children, you're right. Correct.
Mr. Masick.
Mr. Masick, I will call Sean Ibsen. You need to behave yourself.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Behave yourself.
Okay. What am I, your dog? Your lap dog?
Okay.
Have some
Mr.
respect.
Masick and Mr. Flaherty, we're not.
Yeah, that was pretty.
Continue, Mr. Masick. We're not going to argue about that stuff.
Thank you, because that was pretty unprofessional of him.
Since 2019, Mr. Masick could have simply done some chemical dependency assessments, done some parenting assessments.
I've been assessed. I've been assessed.
He's chosen not to interact with his children, follow the parenting plan.
Objection. Objection. Lies.
Mr. Masick, you please stop.
I will not. I'm objecting to lies. Those are lies, and I'm objecting to them.
I will get back to you.
I'm objecting to lies, and I will object to lies. He's lying about me and my children, not wanting to see him and not provide for him. That's lies. I object.
So, Mr. Masick has racked up an enormous amount of arrearages. He's had one felony conviction for it previously. He's still on probation and being managed, making his $160 a month payment. It is clearly inadequate to support 3 young boys. The imputed income, he testified incredibly today that he does manage properties, but they manage themselves. He's not sure what he charges in rent. He's not sure what he collects and how he pays the bank, what number. All of that is clearly.
I object. I object to that too because it's all written down. I object. Those are lies. It's all written down in the paperwork. So that I object. I object. You're a liar. That's a lie. I object. You're a liar.
We would ask that this court affirm the proposed modification.
I object. That's a lie. My numbers are correct. Your numbers are incorrect.
Okay. Based on that, Mr. Masick, can you tell me what those numbers are?
They
How
are
much
the
are you collecting a month?
they are the numbers that I have provided in the documentation that the office had asked me for.
Okay. And Ms. Armstrong, did you have anything further for the department today?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and I have everything I need for this order. So I'm going to go ahead and post the hearing today, and I will go through everything and get an order out as soon as possible.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. I hope you all have a great day.
You too, buddy.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Recording stop.